Okay, I guess we're back. We're going to do trail number 43 out of 42, the National Famine Way.
From 2017 to 2019, Carl and I walked the 42 National Waymarked Trails of Ireland, exploring everything from open mountainsides to wild river banks and quiet forest floors. However, a list of trails is never a static thing, as the people and the land that it interacts with change over time. Which is why, only a couple of months after finishing all of the trails, we were back out again on a new way. This is the National Famine Way, a 165-kilometre historical trail from Roscommon to Dublin. Starting at Strokestown House and the National Famine Museum, it connects to the Royal Canal, which you then follow the whole way to Dublin. Caroline Cleary from the National Famine Museum was kind enough to share with us how the trail came to be.
My name is Caroline Cleary and I'm a director here at the National Irish Famine Museum at Strokestown Park, which is operated by the Irish Heritage Trust. Today I'm standing by our glass commemoration wall. This wall bears the name of 1,490 souls who walked from Strokestown to Dublin in May of 1847. Black 47, which of course was the worst year of the Great Irish Famine. Major Dennis Mahon, the landlord here, inherited the estate in 1845, but it was £30,000 in debt. He set about putting together an emigration scheme with the hope of getting rid of what he called the surplus population. In 2014, we found in the archive lists, 7 or 8 different lists, the ship lists, with the names of people that had been almost forgotten. And these ship lists gave us back the names of people that were wiped from history. And now we are proud to say that we have them here on the glass commemoration wall in Strokestown Park. After the wall was built, we began to wonder about other things, like how did they get to Dublin? What was that journey like? And as we delved deeper, we learned that they walked in 2 large groups from Strokestown all the way to the Royal Canal in Clondra, some 20 kilometres away. And then, directly from Clondra, along the banks of the Royal Canal, the motorway of its day in 1847, all the way to the quays in Dublin, where they arrive on the 27th of May, 1847, and then are bound on ships to Liverpool, and from Liverpool across to Canada. But we are proud now to bring them back, to give them some memory, and in the National Famine Way, which has been launched as a national trail in 2019, we walk in their footsteps. And we have tried to recreate and imagine the space as it was for our people when they walked in hope towards the ships in Dublin. As we gathered and worked on this project, we found out the wonderful bits of history the whole way along the canal, and how different areas were affected differently and what was happening in different spaces as our people walked through. And we were really lucky to have a good friend to the project, Marita Conlon McKenna, the renowned author of Under the Hawthorn Tree. And as we explored the histories, Marita put this into a story that you can hear at each of the pairs of shoes, 30 of them interspersed along the length of the National Famine Way. And Marita talks through the voice of little Daniel Tighe, 12-year-old Daniel, who walked that whole way with his mother, his uncle and his 4 siblings. Daniel, at 12 years of age, was barely a man, but faced through the horrors of the time. He found himself arriving in Groseal with just his little sister Catherine, who was 9, alive. But Marita Conlon McKenna, with his voice and the voices of some of the other of our 1490, retells and reimagines the landscape as it was and as they passed through it in 1847. And we are delighted that this project also connects with the New Horizons Centre in Athlone, because of course the really sad thing is that our past is still somebody else's present. So it really matters to us that we connect with current emigrants and that we try and learn from some of the experiences and some of the knowledge we gain from the archive here at Strokestown to create a wider knowledge and to try and help those who were in similar circumstances to our people in 1847.
The National Famine Way is an interesting trail. The very first trail that we ever walked was the Royal Canal Way. It was a perfect starter trail, as the terrain is very flat and it's almost impossible to get lost. But it lacked a story to connect you to the places you passed, resulting in a bit of a monotonous few days. The creation of the National Famine Way gives you that context and lens with which to see the landscape around you. This trail engages with a dark part of Irish history, and the quiet in-between sections provide time to reflect. The emptiness of the bogs in the Midland take on a new silence. Having walked the canal before, we started where we had left it all those years ago and spent a day walking the rest of the way to Strokestown House with our friend Jen. Reflecting on the two experiences, I think that the Famine Way is a better way to experience the route through bog and waterways. It gives context to land, connects people to history, and reminds us to care for the people and world around us. Thanks to Caroline for talking with us and to Jen for the company. To learn more about this trail, visit nationalfamineway.ie. And as always, I will see you in our next video.
Alright, well, I guess we finished
Yeah.
that trail. The interesting thing about the National Famine Way is that it is the Royal Canal Way plus 20 kilometres on this side and like 5 kilometres on the other side. So it goes from here, this Famine Museum in Strokestown, to the Jeanie Johnson essentially in the Liffey in Dublin, which is a famine ship. It's an original famine ship. It's actually really, really worth visiting if you're in Dublin. So maybe we should do that actually as an original video. Anyway.
Yeah, I think it's. I think combining the Famine Trail with the Royal Canal is a really interesting way of kind of injecting some history into your walk of the Royal Canal.
Yeah.
Because the canal itself, very straight, takes quite a few days to do it, and I think having the information kind of spread along the canal is a really nice way of adding an extra element to that.
Yeah.
The walk today from the end of the canal up to Strokestown is all along kind of roads and such, so it's not a incredibly exciting trail, but it's probably a more realistic representation of what the people during the famine would have had to do to try and escape the hunger of their area. I think this trail was only launched back in May of this year.
Of 2019.
Yes.
I guess you're watching the future.
So who knows how it will develop over time, and I'm excited to see what it becomes.